Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general love reading for mid to end of June 2023, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your version of the truth, their version of this truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. Really trying to answer the question, what is the purpose of this connection and what is the best way to move forward? As always, these energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you end up resonating more with the energy to my right than to my left, that's totally fine and totally normal. The point is for you to take these readings and messages as they resonate to help your personal situation and leave what does not. We'll have a different tarot deck for each side of the connection, but I'm going to go over this overall energy that I have already pulled in just a second. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Capricorn. On your side of this connection, you have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse with trust. This message is really saying that it's important that you are keeping an eye on whether or not you can fully trust this person. I'm not saying you can or cannot yet, but this can kind of be like reevaluation, and then you have this trust, reevaluating whether or not you can fully trust this person in some way, shape, or form. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean trust them to not like betray you or anything like that, but can you trust them to pull their weight in this connection? Can you trust them to reciprocate even when things are hard? You know, can you trust them to show up for you? You know, it doesn't always have to be something so big. I mean, it can be, right? It can be, can you trust them not to cheat on you if it's romantic, or can you trust them to, you know, not speak poorly about you when you're not in the room, things like that. But I also feel like on the flip side, it's, you know, can you trust them to be for you what you are willing to be for them? And I feel like, you know, whether or not you can answer that question can give you a pretty good indication of whether or not it's a healthy connection. Now, this person, they have shadow with the 10 of Wands. So this person is kind of struggling with this connection right now for some reason. The shadow energy that they're dealing with is kind of that unhealed, like triggered version of themselves that I feel like is kind of, I don't want to say taking over their energy in this connection, but it's definitely what they're leading with. And I feel like that's where this 10 of Wands is kind of coming from, is it's almost like this connection triggers them in a lot of ways. And I feel like when it triggers them, they put a lot of that on you. So they could be projecting or like putting a lot of their emotional burdens on you or something. And I feel like that's where you have to, you know, in any kind of healthy connection, it's incredibly important that both people are willing to take a look at themselves, right? Every single person is a reflection of us. And typically when there's any kind of argument or situation, it's, you know, where do you stand? Where do I stand? And try to find that common ground. And you can only do that if both people are truly willing to look within and to grow, or, you know, always willing to accept growth into the situation. And I feel like this connection has potential, but I also feel like, because in between this connection, you have the talisman with the Knight of Wands. And this Knight of Wands to me is speaking of like vulnerability. Like vulnerability is key. Like, but from both sides. Like, are you willing to be fully vulnerable and honest about your feelings and your emotions? Are you willing to communicate even when things are hard, you know? And then on the flip side, are they, right? You have this reevaluating kind of whether or not you can trust this connection. I feel like it's really important to see like, okay, well, can I trust this connection? So let's start, Capricorn, by looking at your side of this connection. Let's see what you are dealing with. This is Capricorn side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. This is Capricorn side of the connection. Capricorn side, one more. This is Capricorn side of this connection, please. Capricorn side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Ooh. This is for Capricorn side of the connection, please. The Knight of Swords with the Knight of Wands in reverse. Then you have the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So you could be dealing with a water sign. that'd be Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. You don't have to be. I just like calling it when I see it. Okay. There is a little bit of chasing going on here, whether or not you realize it, because I feel like you're trying to get out of this what you're giving to it. Because I don't feel like there is reciprocation, at least on an emotional level. Like, it feels like you're giving a lot to this and this person is not fully reciprocating. Now, at the same time, I wonder if they don't really know how, because of that shadow side. It's like they're stuck with that in their like triggered version of themselves. But this Knight of Swords energy is kind of like trying to force something, or trying to, I don't know. Let me see. What is this Knight of Swords saying in regard to this connection? Because this is the same Knight of Wands as you have in between the connection, but it's in reverse. And then you have the Four of Cups in reverse with the Death. This connection is not what you want it to be. That's ultimately what I'm getting from this connection, or from this message. It's not what you want it to be. But I feel like the reason why it's not is different than what you're thinking. It's different than what you're thinking, because I don't necessarily know. Well, let me just pull more. Capricorn side of this connection, please. This is Capricorn side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Capricorn side of the connection. See, you have certain expectations of this person that they're not fulfilling. Now, that doesn't mean that what they're not providing you isn't what you deserve, right? Like, you deserve hang on. What you deserve is what you're wanting. I just am wondering if you're expecting it out of the wrong person. I'm not necessarily saying you are, but it comes down to, and something my therapist once told me that like saved me so much emotional turmoil, was sometimes we expect people to be something for us, and when they're not able to be that for us, we then turn around and take it personally, and we feel as if they're not, able to be for us, or they're not, we take it as if it's like, oh, they're not showing up for us because we're not deserving enough, or they don't see our worth, or whatever the case is. And though that might be true, not that you're not deserving, but that they don't see your worth, it doesn't mean that that's the reason why they're not showing up for you the way that you deserve. Because that could be their inability to be emotionally vulnerable, or inability to communicate, or inability to be what it is that you deserve. Like, it's not that they're not willing. It might actually kind of come down to the fact that they're not able to, because they're not healed enough, right? Someone can only love and meet you to the extent that they love and meet themselves. And I feel like when it comes down to it, you kind of have to look at it and you have to be like, okay, am I willing to do the growth and the inner work to show up for them? And they're not willing to do the same. Because if that's the case, that's just unfair to you. You deserve someone who's willing to fully show up for you, even when it's difficult for them. And I feel like that's what, like, I'm feeling is, it's like, okay, this connection is not what you want it to be, but like, is the reason because they don't want to be what you want them to be, or is it because they don't know how? And if they don't know how, is that really fair of you to bear that burden? Capricorn side of this connection. And I'm not saying, I just get this feeling that this person, I mean, especially with the shadow energy coming out, like they're pretty unhealed. And that's become very burdensome to you. Capricorn side of this connection. There's a perspective shift that's needed here. It's like, because you're disappointed with how things have been going here. But I feel like, I don't know, there's something about a perspective, because this is a need for perspective shift. It came out upside down, even though it kind of flipped over. And then the Judgment in reverse. These are two energies for like not seeing the truth of something, needing a perspective shift. And then the Five of Cups in reverse is like acceptance. So what is that acceptance? There's a Knight of Wands on the back. So what is this acceptance? Clarifying this Five of Cups. Like acceptance after disappointment, kind of like. Let me clarify this Five of Cups in reverse. One more. Clarifying this Five of Cups in reverse, please. The Two of Swords in reverse, which, interestingly enough, that also came out with this Ten of Wands. And I remember when it came out because I was confused by it. Because it almost feels like you're not happy with the way that things have been. But at the same time, I feel like you're having a hard time accepting that they are as they are. I don't necessarily, and that's why there's that chasing, is it's like wanting it to be something that it's not, but then getting met with disappointment because this person doesn't change. And it's like the more that they don't change, the more you feel invalidated. And then that just kind of gets you in this vicious cycle of looking. I just feel like there's like looking for like peace from this or peace in this or something that's been very difficult, because yeah, there's an energy of you being very stuck on this. And maybe you don't want to be. Maybe you're like, man, I wish that I could just, move forward without a care in the world. But you're having a hard time fully doing that because you are feeling so stuck on this for some reason. And I don't necessarily know why yet. Capricorn side of this connection. This is Capricorn side of the connection, please. Capricorn side of the connection, please. Six of Swords, Page of Cups, Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and the King of Wands. And then the World. Ooh, okay. Could be dealing with the fire sign. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Again, you don't have to be. I'm just calling them out as I see them. Yeah, that's crazy. There's a King of Wands and Queen of Wands. We saw the King and Queen of Cups back to back too. Okay. It's like you feel like you should move forward from this or move on from this or something, but you're having such a hard time doing so. It's like I feel, Capricorn, as if you're being a little bit taken for granted in this connection, either are or have. And that's been very challenging for you because I feel like there's a little bit of resentment that is built up because of this person not fully seeing your worth and showing up for you. But at the same time, it's like I feel like they've shown you over and over and over again, like what they're willing to do or what they're capable of. And you're waiting, you're wanting them to change, but they aren't. And it's almost like you're more afraid. I don't know if you're necessarily afraid of losing this connection for good or of this ending than you are continuing to bear this person's emotional burdens. Because I don't know if you can fully trust, like if you ask this person, like you were like, I need you to be there for me at this day, this time, like even if it was like inconvenient for them or like if they were really tired that day, like I feel like you can't be certain that they would show up. I don't know, like that, why that, like showing up for you is such a big aspect of this. Like, are they willing to show up for you in in the same way that you're willing to show up for them? Because I don't think the answer to that is yes. And that has absolutely nothing to do with your worth. It has to do with this person's, oftentimes when people don't show up for themselves or for other people, it's because they don't even know how to show up for themselves, right? And so I feel like that seems to be such a big theme in this reading, is like, maybe you're like, well, I was willing to do so much or to stick around through all of this chaos or through this person's, emotional stuff, but they are not repaying the favor to me. And at that point, there needs to be a very honest conversation that is had. Capricorn side of this connection. Interesting reading so far. Capricorn side of the connection. Capricorn side of this connection, please. What does Capricorn need to see about their side of this connection? Two of Pentacles in reverse and the Two of Wands in reverse. I mean, that's a lot of imbalance right there. And there you are as the Queen of Pentacles, whether you're male or female. And then there's that King of Cups again. I feel like you see a lot of potential for happiness within this connection. Either did or do see that potential. But it just feels like you were never quite able to get there. And I don't know if it's because your needs weren't being met, which I feel like that definitely has something to do with it, because I'm pretty sure Capricorn's reading, your reading from 2 weeks ago when I did love readings, because I switch off between love and general, had something to do with like your needs matter too or something. I think that was Capricorn. Could have also been Cancer, but I think it was Capricorn. Started with a C. And it feels like the less that you receive, like it's like there's this imbalance in this connection, right? Like you're bearing the weight of the connection, of this person's emotional inconsistencies or emotional, not even just inconsistencies, but like unavailability in general. And I feel like you're wanting this person to open up, and you see like it's like there's this potential of like, oh, if they're able to just open up or to love themselves fully, then they'd be able to show it for me, and then this connection could be really good and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, absolutely, that could be true, right? But you have the truth of this connection. The key is mutual vulnerability. Both people willing to put in the work to make it a safe, reliable connection for both people. And I don't know if this person is fully, again, I'm going to keep using the word capable of doing that. And maybe they come off as really manipulative or really, their insecurities cause them to be very defensive or something like that. And that can absolutely be the case, but there's more going on behind the scenes. It's like, I don't feel like this is necessarily a bad person. I feel like they don't really know how to handle their own stuff. And so they put a lot of the burden and responsibility of that on you. And because you care about this connection and you want to make it work, you bear that burden. But then the more that you bear that burden, the less room there seems to really be for you in the connection when it comes to like your emotional needs too. Oof. Capricorn side of the connection to this person. Capricorn side of the connection to this person, please. And the reason that you're not making, because it feels as if like, even though I don't want to say you're not doing anything about it, because I don't necessarily believe that you're like consciously like choosing to be stuck in this limbo. But it feels like you are kind of stuck in a limbo period with this connection where you're like, man, I know I deserve better. I know, like walking away or choosing myself would probably be the best best choice, but it just feels like you're stuck in not being able to choose yourself or do what you need to do, because I don't know if you're more afraid of the loss of the connection or what. It feels like it's like you're just stuck in this limbo. Like things just feel very stagnant here on both sides of this. Now, whether or not that's talking about like the connection as a whole or just like the energy that you feel and experience around it. Because again, I keep getting this feeling that like, oh my gosh, I see a spider crawling up. Where's that spider web even coming from? Anyway, it's like crawling up like right there on the table. You can't see it because it's too far away from the camera. But anyway, I just feel like the stagnancy in this connection, like it's like you feel stuck here. And maybe it's like you've put in so much work into this that the thought of like giving up on it or something like that is like too hard to face. And I'm not saying that's what's needed. I ultimately feel like there's a little bit of trying to, I don't know if it's like force this person to be something that they can't be. I don't want to say forcing. That sounds so aggressive, and it sounds like it's something you're doing intentionally. I don't know. Let's get some more here. Let's see what this person is dealing with. Shadow with the 10 of Wands. This is this person's energy toward Capricorn, please. This person's energy toward Capricorn. All right. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. There they are, the King of Cups. King of Cups and the Knight of Swords. That's crazy. Ooh, okay. It's a little bit of a chaser runner going on. And I don't even necessarily know if you know that that's happening. And there's the 10 of Wands. Give me just a second. Because it feels like, let me clarify this energy. I want to know more about this Knight of Swords. It's always so interesting to me, and it happens a lot, where the first card that comes out mirrors the first card that comes out over there on the other side. There's the Queen of Pentacles with the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So there you are, right? It's interesting. There's both people just popped out here. See, it feels like this person doesn't really want things to fall apart in this connection either. But I feel like because of their own stuff, like their fears, doubts, insecurities, traumas, triggers, I don't know if it's necessarily pulling back or they don't know how to fully invest or something. It just feels like they're a little bit 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And then I feel like that's what happens. So then you try to do more to pull them in. And the more you do, the more they seem to pull back. And I don't feel like it's necessarily chasing. Like, it doesn't feel like you're like, but there's a little bit like, and maybe it's because this person gets like easily spooked or I don't know, something. And you're not doing anything wrong necessarily. I just feel like there's this level of like trying to, I don't know if it's like prove your worth. And I get that. We've all done that, right? Like when someone doesn't see your worth and you really care about them and you see the potential, it's really easy to feel like you have to do more to say like, well, maybe if you see my worth or if you see what I'm capable of or what I bring to the table, then, you'll finally reciprocate. But then the more that we seem to give to it, the less the other person kind of seems to respond. And I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on here. Because I don't think they want things to fall apart for good here. Even if like they already have, this person's energy toward Capricorn. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. That's so crazy. The Hierophant in reverse. This is a crazy married connection. So what is that? Like, how can I really put that into words? The Fool, there's that King of Wands again. Because they're needing a perspective shift too. So what is this perspective shift? Can I get more on this Hierophant in reverse? Remember that everyone here on this earth, especially when someone triggers us, is revealing something that we like or dislike about ourselves. Everything that we like or dislike about someone else is a direct reflection of something we like and dislike in ourselves, or we like or dislike in ourselves. And you can hear it all the time, like when, say you know someone, and this is just an example, you know someone who is like always late to things, and it drives you crazy that they're always late to things. Or it doesn't drive you crazy, maybe not. I don't know. But you know someone who's always late to things, but then you hear them complaining about someone else who's always late to things. And you're like, how can you be mad about someone else always being late to things when you're always late to things? It's like, and that's just a very surface level example. But oftentimes we don't realize that the things that we complain about other people, often actually reveals something within us. And I'm not necessarily saying it means that like we do the same thing or something like that, but like it can also just reveal like our deepest emotional needs as well. And I saw this post once that said like our biggest complaint about our partner isn't actually their biggest flaw, but is where our emotional need, like where the biggest emotional need that we have isn't being met. And I kind of feel like that could be like a little bit of what's being mirrored in this. Is it's like it's trying to reveal something to you in a pretty deep way. I want to get clarification on this Hierophant in reverse though, so maybe we can get some insight on what that is. Introspection. Something that needs to have a light shine on it. I mean, Six of Cups in reverse. Okay, I'm going to just keep pulling because instead of like going deeper into that message, it clarified it. It was like, I mean, a perspective shift is this something that needs a light shine on it. So more for this person's energy toward Capricorn. This person's energy toward Capricorn. I don't like the way that came out. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. There, that was better. Ooh, see, being vulnerable is like way out of this person's comfort zone. There's that Knight of Wands. We've now seen the Knight of Wands in all three of the decks we've used so far. And so this person, they don't know how to be vulnerable. It's like really outside of their comfort zone to do so. And so I feel like that's what I was saying when it's like, it's not necessarily that they're not willing, which sure, there might be a level of like not being willing to do what they need to be able to be vulnerable and, show up for you and things like that. But it's like, they literally don't know how. Like, I don't feel like this person has the emotional availability to be what it is that you deserve. And maybe you know that on a level, but there's a part of you that's like, but they could be. Sure, absolutely. But living for the potential of what someone could or could not be for you is not fair for you. I just realized this is an incredibly long reading. So, sorry about that, Capricorn. All right, this person's energy toward Capricorn. We're already at 30 minutes. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. Seven of Swords in reverse. Three of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like they're a little bit deceptive and dishonest. Not because, like, I don't feel like this person is like vindictive or like a bad person. I genuinely feel like their dishonesty stems from their lack of vulnerability. Like holding back. So like not being fully honest with you about how they feel, not in the sense of like, oh, they're holding back, but like masking how they really feel with something that isn't the truth. And this Three of Pentacles in reverse, it could be this energy of like, I feel like that's on their side what's really contributing to things falling apart here. Is it's like they just don't know how to be vulnerable and honest with you. And like, again, it doesn't feel like these are things that are like shocking to you. Like you're not like, what? This person doesn't know how to be vulnerable. Like I feel like you're like, yeah, I know. But the thing is I feel like I don't know if you're necessarily wanting them to change or expecting them to change or wanting to see like I remember when I was kind of dealing with a karmic connection, I'm not necessarily saying that that's what this is, but it kind of had a similar energy in the sense that I saw this person's potential and our potential, and it was like, oh, if this person could just heal, or if they could just love themselves, or be vulnerable, or whatever the case is, like we could be really good. And so I felt like if this person saw my worth, or was able to see what we could be capable of, then they would want to change, not just for themselves, but for the connection. And so I spent a lot of time trying to prove my worth to that person, saying like, oh, if they see what they're missing out on, or if they see like what they've lost, like then they'll change. And I wasted so much of my time and energy on that, because that's not how it works. People don't change, unfortunately, when we want them to. They change when they realize they need to, and oftentimes that has nothing to do with other people. And I feel like this person, it's like I don't necessarily know if they have the self-awareness to know they need to change or to do some inner introspection. But it's not coming through right now that they're like doing that or open to that. Because right now they just have the shadow with the Ten of Wands. Like they're strictly right now just coming from their unhealed, triggered self. This person's energy toward Capricorn, and hurt people hurt people. I mean, there's a reason that's a saying. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. Yeah, see, that's exactly it. They're not taking accountability for anything. They're not taking accountability with the Justice in reverse. And I feel like that's where it's like, yeah, they're not willing, they're not able to be vulnerable with you, but they're not vulnerable with themselves either. They're not able to look in the mirror and be like, okay, how have I messed up with Capricorn? I feel like they might have a tendency to be like, oh, it's all Capricorn's fault. It's all your fault. You do these things to me. You make my life hard or whatever. And you're sitting there like, man, I feel like there's this energy of just needing to understand that this person isn't capable. It's not that they're not willing necessarily. And again, there might be a level of that, but they're not capable. And it's not that they don't, it's not that you're not deserving, or that this person, like, I don't know, they could reflect that back at you, that you don't feel deserving of better. But honestly, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them, right? Their inability to take accountability and to be emotionally available and to be open and honest and vulnerable and all of that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them and their own stuff. So I feel like there's a little bit of taking it personally. And I feel like there's this need to realize that I just don't know if they're like ready for this kind of connection that you're needing from them. This person's energy toward Capricorn. The Tower. Tower, the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. And there's that Five of Cups in reverse with the Five of Wands. I feel like this could be one of those people where there's kind of always something wrong. Like they always have like a problem, or like this Tower moment, this doesn't feel very serious. It could be. just feels like everything is always a tower. Like it's always the end of the world. It's always a problem. Life is always hard. Like victim mentality kind of stuff. And they kind of thrive in that chaos. And so I feel like they've put a lot of that on you. And I feel like when it comes down to it, it's made your life more difficult because you've got your own stuff to take care of, right? But then every day, this person is coming to you with something else that you're having to bear the burden of. And I don't know. Like I just don't feel like, those people that, these are the people I struggle with the most. And I know why, because I used to be one of them. It's the people that always put themselves in the situations that they know aren't going to go well. Like it's just obvious. Like it's like, this isn't going to work out well for you, but then they do it anyway. And then they're like shocked when things don't work out. And it's just like, and they like look for other people to like make them feel better. Like, have you ever had those friends that it's just like they get into these relationships with these awful people that you're like, that it's not going to work out well. And it's hard, right? It's hard to send love and empathy time and time again when you're watching someone sabotage their life so much. And I feel like this is one of those people that like kind of gets themselves into self-sabotaging situations, but then, kind of plays the victim and puts the burden on other people around them to like pick them back up after they've kind of made their life a mess. And like those people deserve love and empathy just as much as everyone else, but to a certain extent, other people have to be willing to kind of heal and grow too, right? All right, we're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to clarify this talisman with the Knight of Wands. We're going to pull 9 different messages, and then I have an advice card to pull at the end. Thank you so much, Capricorn, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with me, or with you in a way that you were needing today. There was something, the reason I said that was because there was something I was thinking about, and then it completely, what was that? What was I going to say? Just about to say. I don't remember. Wow, that's annoying. Okay, well, I hope this reading resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, Capricorn, I wish you absolutely nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Capricorn.